Scanning for audio.
Welcome to yet another Tin Dog podcast. This time I'm talking about yet another Big Finish release, the return of Jo Jones. Now, it's the beginning of March. There's just been a Sea Devils showing at the BFI. Obviously, I didn't go. And it's to release the new box set. Episode 2 of the Sea Devils was being shown the day I was born. And I've just had my birthday, so it kind of all fits together. But of course, the important bit with all of this is that we're dealing with Jo Jones now. Now. Whenever the Doctor Who now really is. It's our current Jo Jones, our current Katie Manning, in with John Pertwee. John Pertwee's Doctor, who's of course Tim Trelaw. We love Tim's current performances of the Third Doctor. I mean, absolutely adore them. This is 3 stories in one box set. Released in February 2023, and it's exclusively available to buy until the end of March 2023. Jo Jones, née Grant, is reunited with her Doctor in a very important point of her life as they embark on new adventures. You know, some people go to YouTube to watch people like me, white, middle-aged, middle-class men. I am middle-class now. I started out as working class, but you know what? Give someone enough education and enough disappointment, they'll be middle-class. Anyway, why did I say disappointment? Pointless. I've got all this lovely world around me. Moving on. Supernature by Matt Fitton, 2 parts. After a spate of terrifying bird attacks, Jo Jones is called to the Isle of Wight, an old friend. Something is thrown out of the natural order. But Jo's own world is about to change forever. It turns out that not only one investigation. Soon it's like old times, facing down arrogant scientific ambition as the danger grows. The Doctor and Jo have been reunited just when they need each other the most. Set before he meets Sarah Jane. So he's just left Jo, but he's been travelling by himself for a bit around the universe, and he's come back to Earth now, and then he meets older, I'm not going to say elderly, older Jo. Older Jo is a different person, and she's lost Cliff. You can work out real world reasons for that yourself. It is important, and it's incredibly sad. There were plans to have Cliff in this story, but that's another story. It's a lovely, lovely callback, and also it sorts out the whole older Jo meeting the 11th Doctor story and Jo knowing more about the blue crystals. We sort all that out. That's fine. It works here. The Conservatives? That's not ever going to be on one of my podcasts, is it? The Conservitors by Felicia Barker. On the planet Viltris, in the 49th century, is a regime obsessed with statistical analysis. Oh my God, this is not helpful for dyslexic. On the planet Viltris, in the 49th century, a regime obsessed with statistical analysis of risk has created a force of robots to protect its citizens. But when Jo arrives with the Doctor in her first space-time voyage in decades, she discovers the long-held grudges from the past conflict are about to bubble over into outright rebellion. Absolutely smashing stuff. Really, really good world building. Nice thought out interactive characters. Really beautifully put together. Nice guest performances as well. And then there's The Iron Shore by Lizzie Hopley. Now, there was a rule with Doctor Who which was kind of skirted around, where you didn't get to find out what was in the Doctor's mind. I understand that. And I also know that there's a whole episode of Doctor Who on TV where Jo is walking around with a little tape machine or tape recording what's going on to report back to the Doctor so that she can do the narration. Here, you've got something similar to that, but it feels more like an audiobook with acting going on rather than one of the normal Big Finish stories. Now, I know that Nick Briggs went, yeah, let's do that. That's a great idea. It just didn't do it for me because I was so used to the other stories, which are just pure, ordinary Doctor Who narratives. It's going on. the omniscient narrator who isn't an omniscient narrator because obviously their character is in it, so they're telling the story. I get all of that. I do get the reasoning behind all of that thinking. It's just not for me, and it takes me out of the story just a little bit. So I get what the narrative was getting at, and I get what it was trying to achieve, but it did take me slightly out of it. And that's not saying that it's a bad story. By any stretch of the imagination, it is not a bad story. What it is really dark, foreboding. And it took me back to my time in Wall's End, because they keep talking about a wet dock, which I'm guessing is a dry dock that's full of water. And dry docks I've seen plenty of. So, with that, as always, I'll play you the trailer and let you decide for yourself. So until next time, be seeing you.
From Big Finish Productions, Doctor Who, The Third Doctor Adventures, The Return of Jo Jones.
It wasn't an accident. They drove him over.
This is all about you, Jo Jones, eco-warrior.
But why the interest in Jo?
It's you! I mean, it's you.
Yes, Jo. It's me.
I'll include teleraves this time. Predators. Don't worry about the Doctor. He's right where he wants to be.
It would help if you told me what you're wiring my head into.
A psionic pulse emitter.
We own the skies. We will not let them win.
It wants to destroy us all! Once more around the universe, one more big adventure, and back in time for days.
For your safety, please exit the vehicle.
Welcome, Doctor.
Am I indeed?
I'm Jo Jones.
Wendell, BS, but due respect, I don't want to get acquainted. Nothing personal, I can just tell you're off-worlders.
They deem protest an intractable risk. Very well. Let us become a threat, equally intractable so long as their oppression remains.
Neutralize him.
What? Now just wait a moment.
Threat neutralization in progress. For your safety, you will be executed.
Executed?
Jo Jones. How unpredictable.
You have to listen. If you forbid something completely, you guarantee it'll happen.
The Doctor sacrificed himself to save others, but everyone on this world will die.
He'll be all right. He always is. He's not dead. He can't be dead.
If you were a creature out of your element, perhaps you would find comfort inside a shipping crate or a wet dock.
If you are a doctor,
Ask your question, Mr. Callis.
what's wrong with me?
Oh, that's simple. I'd say you were cursed.
How many times had I landed on a strange world filled with terrors, stepped from the safety of the TARDIS into the unknown, trusting the Doctor was at my side. It never crosses my mind that one of these journeys will be our last.
Solomon.
Oh, Doctor!
Hello, Jo.
Very touching performance, I'm sure.
You know what she's been through.
Big Finish, for the love of stories.